Well, folks, the Hiroshima talks are over, and I proceeded to cry. For what is admittedly a more down chapter, kind of resetting the stakes. The page with Shiba standing there looking out the window, saying I have to get up. Something about it it made me just uncontrollably sob. I was not ready for that. There's just so much like sadness in that, where it's like he just lost everything. He's barely alive, and he's like, no, I gotta keep going, gotta keep trucking on. That he had the bold and the font. I love a good lettering, a good text setting, and that bold and that have says so much. That he has to. The whole world's kind of ruined at the moment, and he's alive, so he has to bear witness to the future. And he's not the type of guy to sit on the sidelines. But besides that, before I talk about the other things, what is this family photo looking at? Like, how do you got the four boys standing there like they're posing for their class picture? Like, what are we... I do not think any of them... I think Shiba did. I think Shiba did because he's trying to look at it. He's trying to look tough. But the rest of them are just like, what? Why did you take this family photo? Who was thinking, hey guys, you're gonna go kill these people. You're gonna go on a little peace mission or you might all die. So let's go take a family photo together real quick. But anyways, big Kunishige chapter today. Because of course, that's kind of the point we need to get to now is the swords. Our guys are all dead, so we need to start anew. And it's really great. The dynamic between Burrito, Mr. Sushiman, and Kunishige is just so good. They're like cutting through the noise, but also still having banter. Or Kunishige is like, dude, why are you wasting my time with all this stupid stuff? And he's like, good. He's like, you're a good boy. You get it. You're a real one. And Kunishige is like, you're annoying, and I don't like you for wasting all my time. But as you get like pretty clear and cut and dry, this is Kunishige's worldview. To some extent, there's definitely more nuance to it, but he did pretty explicitly the making a living selling deadly weapons is something I'll never be comfortable with. And his gripes, miasma at accepting that is really interesting, where he's like, well, I don't want this status that you have, Rita, because then it would be feeling like the violence is approved and is something that is not something I like. The blades should not be something to celebrate. They are weapons of destruction. They're not things we should be giving approval for. But then of course he's got his shonen goal to forge the greatest sword ever. And he's got the key to Shinsuke. I'm prepared to make thousands. We're just gonna lock in and keep doing it. But you can see on his face there's a kind of... When the silly goes away, you can see him kind of wistful, understanding the state of things and grappling with his emotions, which is good on Urita for treating him as not an equal necessarily, but with respect, where they're having a conversation and exchanging their ideals and accepting that this is how he sees it, but also pushing back on it to really force him to think about it more, which is good. We love to see character development. And then we get bureaucracy, my favorite, where Shiba is very alive, but it is also kind of messed up. I mean, it makes sense why you would do it. But they're like, yeah, he is very damaged, but we did the treatments and now he can answer our questions. And it's like, oh, so you like got him back to life enough, and you're like, Shiba, what the hell happened here? And then we get more recaps just all the silly men in suits, and by that I mean it's them plus all the Hishaku and Kamunabi guys, the big sitting around the table discussing. But we get our new demands, which makes sense given all of them were rejected and then you tried to kill them and they went, well, give us the princess because she is the root of our problems. Except not quite, because the old man is trying to be yuck because of course the old man he wants to make love with the child because he's a pedophile, because of course he is. Gotta keep the bloodline, and it's like, oh my god, dude, come on. What are we doing here? We just need to not do that. But their goal of the Soga clan needs to be kind of purged, which is more just like the system needs to be destroyed. A very common shonen thing. It makes sense, and is in the long term a good thing. At least, well, we don't know how it gets between them and Akemura. something clearly goes wrong there. But for now, the Mikaboshi just want to continue the bloodline, because of course they do. But of course, there's nothing for the princess here. Chiaki is just having the time of her life, where she is unconscious and wakes up and immediately hits there will be hell on earth. The war begins. The war begins, really. And then it's time for more sorcerers. But I'm glad they're like, you get the aura shots where it's like, look, there's Azami, there's my goat, there he is. But then also the acknowledgement that even with like the goats we know today, like that's not enough. That they're like, we put our 4 strongest guys there and they got destroyed. Like throwing guys at this is not going to fix the solution, which is good. And I like that they mentioned that specifically, because I think that's something that doesn't get mentioned a lot, because there's like hubris and pride. That these people are not just like blind idiots, like they have a brain to think. Because so many of these like, oh, the excessive hubris leader of the commander of the squadron or the army or whatever, who always ends up just dying because they're like, oh, just send more guys, that'll surely solve the problem. And I appreciate the mention that it's like, no, this is not a thing we can just throw more guys at. We said our 4 strongest guys. You cannot make that up in the aggregate. And they try all the other things too, which is cool. They're like, we see the options, you see them think through like, here's what we could do, here's why it wouldn't work, which is cool. There's a realistic nature to it that is appreciated, because it's not something you always get. And then we get to Shiba and Kunishige, which is, you know, I really want to, I know this, it kind of touches on the Mashiro's blade that Kunishige made for him. I want to dig into that so much, because I think that would be such a fascinating thing to have him grapple with. But of course, we're not there just yet. But I do think we'll come back to that, because I think to forge the enchanted blades, there needs to be, the past will have to inform the future, but we do get the enchanted blade plan. It is this time where bro is going to start. Nishige knows everything, and he's locked in to make those enchanted blades. And honestly, I'm excited to see. What I really want to see is, I don't just want to see the blades like snap into existence. I want to really see him grapple with how they're made, because I know to some extent they are formed by the people that wield them, but I also think it would be really, really interesting to see why Nishige makes them the way that he does, and just his general thought process while he's making it, because I think that would be great for his character and also good for informing us for the future characters and how they wield them. But I also want to know how the guys get picked, because as far as we know now, it's just there's a book that just says this is the enchanted blade plan, like this is the thing that we know. But clearly at some point people get chosen for those blades, and I want to know why. And I'm sure we'll know why, but I'm excited to see in the future whenever we do.